Well, well, another day, another fight, and it's another TJ fight because I mean, at this point, would you expect anything else from TJ? There was another boxing match, and it was between Jimmy and TJ. Now, for those of you that may not be aware, I don't think there's many of you that are not aware, but for those of you that are not, Jimmy ended up coming back yesterday. They ended up reintroducing him. He had two security. He was basically flanked by security at all times. Here's one of them, and man, it was a very short tenure. People talk about Ella from season one being the shortest tenure. Uh, on a technical level, Jimmy has her beat because even though Jimmy was a fish, he was brought back as a freeloader. And I think it only took him 2 hours, maybe three if we're being generous, to quit again. And this is the reasoning for that. We're going to go ahead, we're going to take a look at this fight. Basically, what led up to it was Jimmy, when he got on the outside, he learned some rumors apparently that are circulating about TJ. Whether those are true or not, I'm not sure. I'm not even really going to pay attention to those. I'm not interested in rumors like that. But when he went back into the tank, he decided that he was going to confront TJ about those rumors. And TJ, in a bid to defend his honor, decided he wanted to box. I think that's I think TJ really enjoys boxing. He may not be the greatest at it right now, but I think he really enjoys it. Jimmy claims to have had 12 years of MMA experience, and on the show, he has had multiple very aggressive, even violent outbursts towards mainly women. And you would have expected him to want to fight TJ, considering the issues that he seems to have with TJ. But he was a little bit reluctant. He ended up coming around, and that's why we're here right now. So we're going to go ahead. I feel like it's probably best to take a look at this in slow-mo again, just because this is a little bit slower compared to the other fights that we've seen. But I just want to make sure we see every little thing, because from what I've heard, this is the first time I'm actually watching this. From what I've heard, there were some strange things that went down on the part of Jimmy. But we'll go ahead. I almost hit subtitles. I did that for the last video. I don't know if I cut it out. But we're going to go ahead half speed. And let's get going. Alright, so we'll go ahead. We'll skip to about here. That seems to be where the fight is starting. Alright, so TJ fakes with a right hand. He really likes leading with his right hand, and that's something I want to try and break. So he kind of throws this weird left-right hand. Ben gets caught up in it. So Jimmy right now is just pushing him up against the wall and trying to make room for haymakers, but the thing is he's not. So none of those punches have actually really landed thus far. Ooh, he's got the tie clinch. And he hits a head throw. A hip toss. You know, I've heard multiple ways to refer to that throw, but he hits a hip toss and no punches or anything. He ends up being dragged off. Now, to my understanding, this is supposed to be a boxing match, but Jimmy ended up playing a little bit dirty. So somebody said there was a heel hook at this point, but that wasn't a heel hook. Jimmy just kind of was grabbing his leg. So Jimmy winds up. Doesn't really even throw anything. He just kind of pushes him into the corner. Oh, man, the lighting went off. So Jimmy isn't really throwing punches right now so much as he's just kind of pushing TJ up against a wall. Even when he has tried to throw, he hasn't really landed anything. At best, he's been landing glancing blows thus far. So I'm curious I'm curious what is going to happen now. So, Mr. Goldstriker, Judge Goldstriker holding them. Jeez, this somehow makes it more aesthetic, the lighting, the way it looked a second ago. Alright. So, if it doesn't continue in a second, I'm going to go ahead and... Alright, yeah. So circling right now. TJ really hasn't done much. There's a jab that wasn't really intended to land in the first place. Oh, there's a weird jab. Again, Jimmy pushing him up against the wall and not really landing anything. Jimmy tries to throw a right hand, doesn't land. So TJ throws a right hand. Doesn't really land either, but, you know, it kind of sort of landed. Ooh, that left hook from Jimmy landed, followed by that right hand that was kind of a glancing blow. Again, right now, Jimmy's just sort of smothering him. He's just trying to overwhelm him. Ooh, yeah, there's the nut shot. I heard there was a nut shot. And he ends up throwing a right hand. It lands. Another right hand kind of lands. The thing is, none of these are really hurting because Jimmy isn't really able to throw them with any sort of power or anything like that. He's not landing square, and the way that he's kind of positioning himself and the way he's throwing his hand out there, it would be more annoying than anything, if I'm just being honest here. All right, so right hand misses, followed by a right hand that is partially blocked. Ooh, TJ lands what looked like to be a landed jab. So Jimmy going back to the wrestling. He has his arm right now, but he's giving up his back. That's not a good thing on Jimmy's part, right? I did see this clip, right? And he said that he was going to break TJ's arm or something like that. He wouldn't have been able to do that. That would not have been able to happen. Jimmy is giving up his back, though, which is terrible. If Jimmy did that to me, I would immediately just grab a seatbelt and take him down. I'd just take his back. All right, so Jimmy taking a bit of a breather, talking to Judge. All right, let's see here. Oh, we don't need to see Jimmy floundering or anything like that. I just want to all right, looks like we're about to go now. So he's coming at him. He throws a kick. What looks like was meant to be a kick to the nuts, but I'm not 1,000% sure. They stopped it after that. Oh, and right hand misses. Jimmy is aggressive. He just has zero ability to be accurate. Oh, there's a right hand that landed. All right, another right hand that looked like it landed, but again, it didn't do much damage because Jimmy can't really throw with power. TJ right now is just kind of weathering the storm. Weathering the storm and getting pushed around. You know, it doesn't look pretty on either of their part, but I mean, TJ really hasn't taken damage, if I'm just being honest. Wow, I thought Jimmy punched the wall for a second. That would have been the best. I wish he punched the wall. So TJ throws a cross, but Jimmy ends up parrying it. Followed by a jab, also parried. Jimmy tries to return with a right hand. Jimmy is absolutely gassed. Did he just like try to do a timeout? Did he just like go timeout, but he's got gloves on, so he couldn't do that? Is that really what just happened? Man. Jimmy taking the knee. On a technical level here, if we were to score this as a boxing match, that's a knockdown for TJ. If we're being honest here, technically, TJ throws a straight right hand, but it's not a straight right hand. It's just a jab, technically, because his right hand was forward. And another one, but he ends up kind of hitting the shoulder, and it kind of bounces off a little bit. Straight right down the middle, nice. Jimmy just sort of pushing him up against the wall right now. Can't really see much here. Almost looked like an elbow from Jimmy, though. That was interesting. I don't know if he meant to throw that. I don't know if it landed. I can't wait to see the ground footage, the footage with Ben. I hope they release that soon. If they do, I'll do another reaction to the footage on the ground. All right. See, I have seen a couple of clips, right? And one of the clips is the ending where Jimmy quits. Now, to my understanding, he says that he quits the show. And without missing a beat, that's when Sam kind of walks him out. So that's the end of it. Yeah, so not the prettiest fight. Definitely not the prettiest fight. All right, I think we can all agree there. Very, very weird fight. Even take how ugly that fight was out of the equation, and it's still a weird fight because really TJ did not land very often. I mean, neither did Jimmy. but at least Jimmy was a little bit more active. He was trying to impose his will. TJ was just kind of weathering the storm, and once Jimmy got tired, that's when he started to open up a little bit more. And that's a legitimate tactic, don't get me wrong. You know, rope-a-dope, that Ali type thing. You also see cardio-based fighters like Tony Ferguson. I know as of late, you know, he's become kind of a meme, but like the Diaz brothers as well, pushing a pace and using that pace to tire people out. You know, good for TJ. I'm proud of him for being able to last in the way that he did. It would have been real easy for him to just be like, yeah, this ain't going my way. Maybe I just take a knee. You'd be surprised how often that happens in the combat sports world. It happens a lot. Most of the time, dudes don't really lose because they got knocked out or because they got caught in a real tough submission. They just kind of mentally are like, this ain't going my way. I don't know, man. And then maybe they start looking for a bit of a way out. You know, maybe they let something dangle and all of a sudden they're caught in an arm bar. Maybe they get hit by something that it's hard, maybe not hard enough to really incapacitate them, but it's hard, and you know, maybe they just lay down, right? You would be surprised how often that happens. And TJ has not done that. TJ has never done that. And that's why I'm proud of him. Even though, like I said, I would rather him not continue with these fights, right? I'm hoping this is going to be the last one, at least until he gets more training. I'm still proud of him regardless, right? Good for TJ. Now, some people are going to be mad at me. Some people are going to be happy, right? I'm noticing on Twitter, right, when I talk about this, there's always an argument underneath anything that I post regarding this between TJ supporters and Jimmy supporters. Look, like, I'm not going to take a side in this necessarily, right? But I'm just going to tell you what I see. Jimmy, 12 years of MMA? No. No. I would venture a guess that maybe over 12 years, he's been to a gym like once a year at least. But 12 years of continuous MMA, I think we all know that's not true. What I will say, though, is the way that he fights, if you don't know how to fight, is basically the way you should fight. You should be aggressive, forward. You should be pushing dudes back into, like, say, a corner or a wall, up against a tree, anything, right? You should be using your environment to the best of your ability. You should be up in the dude's face because you're actually going to be safer for the most part in very close, either that or way far away. You don't want to be in the pocket with some dude if you don't know how to fight, regardless of whether or not the other dude knows how to fight or not. At the end of the day, Jimmy, he just needs a little bit more control over himself. And I mean that in multiple ways, but fighting wise, if he took that same strategy and he learned to land punches a little bit better, maybe throw some elbows, maybe throw some knees, things like that, he would actually, he'd be formidable when it comes to being able to protect himself in a lot of different situations. I mean, that throw that he ended up doing, right? I'll see if I can find it. I probably won't be able to find it like right away or anything like that. We're gonna see if you know. Okay, so here it is right here. This is kind of the lead up to it, and you're gonna see it. So he throws a couple punches, right? He's inside. It almost looked like he tried to throw an elbow, but I don't think that was the case. So that throw, right? He hit that one other time in his body shots match versus Cole. There is a certain degree of calculation to him. I do believe that maybe the whole pushing TJ up against the wall thing was something that he learned somehow, some way. I'm not going to say I'm like overly impressed with Jimmy or anything like that. I knew from the first day, the first karate lesson, when I heard him talking about pressure points and other weird stuff like that, I knew he was full of it. And I just kind of let him talk and tell me, oh yeah, 12 years of MMA. And I was just like, oh yeah, sure. Because I knew at some point he was going to be exposed. He was already exposed, but he was going to be exposed in a manner like this. But I will say, even with that, there is a little bit more to it than you might expect. I want to give him the credit that he does deserve in terms of his fighting ability. He has no cardio, obviously. Most people don't have cardio. You think you have cardio until you end up sparring, right? You could run miles and miles and miles. You could do whatever kind of exercises, whatever kind of CrossFit, P90X, whatever exercises you like. You probably don't have fight cardio. And that's partially because fight cardio is not only insane, you have to have insane cardio to not get tired 30 seconds into a fight, but in addition to that, you also need to understand the pacing. It's a very start-stop kind of pace, and most people don't know that. Most people don't do that naturally. They kind of have to be trained into that start-stop pace. Most people, especially in a high adrenaline situation, they just kind of are go, go, go. And, well, that's why Jimmy got tired. He was go, go, go. He didn't sit there and think, okay, maybe I should be a little bit more tempered. TJ is very timid right now. So even though I do want to be aggressive, I don't have to be as aggressive as I am trying to be right now. But with that said, I'm curious as to what the future holds. To my understanding, Jet said ringing the bell does not mean boxing. It never meant boxing, to my understanding, because there were I want to say 3 or 4 beefs, maybe even more, that occurred where there was no combat involved in any way, shape, or form. Then I think what opened up that can of worms was when TJ challenged Judge. And then after that, it just kind of continued. And that seems to be over and done with now. Though I'm sure if somebody had beef with somebody else, like I said, if Tay had beef with Trish, I'm sure maybe there could potentially be a boxing match involved. But I don't think it's going to be the automatic go-to or anything like that. I think that would have to be something that they both ask for. Either way, we'll see. We'll see. I would love to see more boxing, but I would also love to see it between people who are not TJ, and I would also love to see a little bit more training involved. But it's like I said, we'll see. That's all that I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and also sub for more. If you have anything to say, leave a comment down below. And if you have anything to ask me, if you have any questions for me, hit me up on Instagram, @ScottSullivanMMA. I've had a few people who have hit me up over the last day or two since I made the last fight video, and I'm going to answer their questions on a stream, the next stream that I have, whether it's, the night that I'm recording this or another time. But, yeah, other than that, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, good luck out there.